I'm John Terode and you're watching Joburg Today.
The City of Johannesburg meets in council for its last council meeting for the year 2017. This is the first year in the history of this city that it is being governed by a coalition-backed administration. The meeting will be held over 2 days, on Wednesday and Thursday. On the second day of the council meeting, the ANC will be tabling its second motion for a vote of no confidence against the city's mayor, Mr. Herman Mashaba, and council speaker, Mr. Vasco Da Gama. Their first attempt failed when the speaker rejected their motion based on non-adherence of council rules. The ANC then approached the courts to intervene. After hearing arguments, the matter was struck off the roll. Well, we caught up with the council speaker, Mr. Vasco Da Gama, to find out why the ANC wants him out. This isn't the first time the ANC is tabling such a motion. Previously, they did table one. You rejected it. You faced off in court. The City of Johannesburg won. Why did you reject it in the first place?
The first motion was rejected based on the rules of council. The rules of council stipulates that you don't have a secret vote in council, firstly. And secondly, you can't ask for it from the floor. The rules are quite clear on that, and the court fortunately judged it in that way, but also that it wasn't an urgent motion. But also at the court proceedings, we said, bring it, as long as you don't ask for things that are not within the rules. And they brought it back, we approved it, to be served on Thursday.
What are the ANC's issues with you as the Speaker of the House? Why are they targeting you?
They're basically saying that I'm allowing the executive to control the legislature. That's not the case. Items are brought to council both from the executive and from the legislator, in the sense that all the oversight reports comes from my particular office. Where the Section 79 basically deals with the oversight reports, and that is put to council, recommendations put through. But if there is something wrong with that report, and the councillors complain on that report, it's obviously the natural thing to withdraw the report, correct it, and ensure that you are able to take sound recommendations on items. Right? That sometimes happens. It doesn't happen at each council meeting, but also if the executive feels that a report of theirs is actually going to council and there is something wrong with it, it's their prerogative to withdraw it. Now the ANC expects us to put through all these wrong reports so that at the end of the day they can then go and complain to COCTA to have this administration declared null and void. We're not going to allow that. It's the executive's prerogative to withdraw items when they need to, and that's the complaint against me.
You mentioned that the secret ballot is not allowed in terms of council rules, which is why you rejected the first motion that was presented by the ANC. But why does the rule say that a secret ballot is not allowed?
Simply because the rules prescribe that. The ANC, before the elections, actually passed these same rules to deal with the EFF that they knew was going to be part of council. That's why it's in there. If it depended on us, and remember, to get the rules changed in council, you need a 2/3 majority. So a simple majority by the minority won't be able to change the rules in council. That's my understanding of it. So we still need the ANC support. If they want to change the rules, let them propose that. Put it through the rules committee. The committee will look at it. We will get it into council and then change the rules if that needs to be. But for the time being, the rules that we are applying in council is the ones on the rules book.
What are the ANC's reasons for calling for this vote of no confidence?
Well, I think the motions themselves stipulates exactly what it is. I don't know whether I can read it out, but basically that the motion against the mayor, ANC claimed that the City of Johannesburg has reached a state of paralysis and that the city is on the brink of collapse due to operating on negative financial cash flow, this is frivolous and not true, merely a baseless accusation. I think that's the answer to it, that there is no basis for it. They haven't put in proof on the motions themselves, number one. The city is in a good financial position. In fact, the Auditor General's report is basically discussed during this week. The interviews with different officials within the city. I think the mayor was part of one of the discussions that they had with the Auditor General. We're going to table it in January. So the city's finances is sound, although I must agree that there are certain things that are not going, and we are quite open about that. I think the mayor went out about 3 weeks ago openly saying these are the issues that are wrong within the city. This is the reasons why infrastructure cannot be upgraded, because there's a shortage of money. We need about 166 billion rand just to get the bulk services within the city corrected, and you are able to provide meaningful services to the residents out there. So we're busy working on that. But it's 23 years of neglect that we have to deal with. It's not even 2 years. I think we were elected last year in 2016. It's basically a year and close to about 6 months. But the point here is that we're trying our best. The residents are starting to work with us. You've seen what the mayor has done with the cleaning day once a month on the last Saturday. I think we're going to change it now to the third Saturday in the month to ensure that people's shopping at the end of the month is not interrupted with. But we're going to continue with that. And you will see the city starting to change slowly but sure, including the roads, the robots. Yesterday I drove through from here late at night when it was raining at its heaviest. And believe me, all the robots from the inner city, where I am, out up to El Rado Park, the first robot that I saw was in Kliptown. And obviously that has not yet been fixed, but that was the first robot that I saw out. All of them were working. In other words, you had a good traffic flow, and so things are starting to get to what they should be. But as you know, there's also the inner city program where the mayor wants to turn the inner city into a construction site. That will start happening during next year, March. So I don't know where the ANC actually gets its information.
So once this motion is actually tabled at council meeting, what is the process or procedure that will follow? How soon will voting take place?
Well, voting will take place immediately after that. Obviously, the motions will be debated. There could be counter motions against it. In other words, somebody else could come with a counter to the motion that is proposed. Maybe one of the oppositions might decide not to put a motion forward or change in the recommendations that we've got confidence in the mayor or confidence in the speaker. It's allowed for within council. And then a vote will take place. A simple show of hands will then be taken, and therefore the council will take place, and whoever wins. If I'm out, that's it. But I've tried my best up till this point to ensure that we keep to the rules, that no corruption takes place within this office. I think when I entered this office, for the first 2 weeks, this table was this high with files and files of corruption in the city, including that table. I couldn't use that table when I came in here. I had to store some of the information at my house. Up to this point, there has been 300 and something corruption cases and more than 600 people locked up because of corruption in the city. We will continue doing that to ensure that the public's money is not wasted.